The tropics are teeming with life. That means there's an abundance of resources for you and your brood. But it also means that there's plenty of competition looking to eat your food or you. Protecting yourself can mean developing one of several tactics. You could focus on defense, you could try to blend in, or you could try to go for both at once. The Thorn bug has done just that. But with great tools, the next thing is to perfect their application in real life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal info. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
And today we're talking about a bug with a prickly personality. But more on that later.
Very prickly.
Also, thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube.
Yes, please do. It's all good stuff. But yes, very prickly personality. So we're talking about the thorn bug, in case you didn't gather that from the episode title you clicked on. I'll just end the suspense here. Thorn bug.
It's also in this week. It's in the intro.
Oh yeah. I usually put it in my intros too.
It's good to do that for SEO.
Everything's for SEO.
Yeah, it really is.
How come you didn't record an episode this week? SEO.
It's a good excuse.
Yeah,
you wouldn't understand SEO.
Yeah, it's the algorithm just doesn't, whatever. But it's called the thorn bug, but we're gonna call it here the sharp dresser and Prickle Pete.
Nice.
That's all I got. Prickle Pete. Just sounded funny in my brain, so put it down. But sharp dresser was really where the cleverness came in.
Thorin Oaken-eater.
Thorn Oaken-eater. Yeah. They're related to shield bugs. So Thorn Oaken shield bug. All right, so let's taxonomize this sharp boy. The kingdom is the one that you know, love, and are in, and that one is Animalia, not the kingdom of the Netherlands. Although there are Animalias in the Netherlands. The phylum is Arthropoda. The class is Insecta. And the order is Hemiptera, which is true bugs.
Nice.
And I did a little bit more digging into true bugs. And this whole time I thought that beetles and stuff were true bugs. And that is not the case.
A specific type of bug, right? It has to have wings, like a wing shell, right? And it has to have a shape on its back.
Well, no, ladybugs are not bugs.
Really?
No beetle is a bug. It's a completely different order. So only Hemiptera. So these are tree hoppers, cicadas, thorn bugs, obviously. So that's actually not as wide spanning as I thought. The suborder is, here we go, Oaken-eater. Yep.
Nice.
There's a lot of H's, and they don't pull a lot of weight here. The infraorder is Cicadomorpha, which includes cicadas. The family is Membracidae. The genus is Umbonia, which sounds like a country for sure, a made-up country that has dragons and stuff.
It sounds like a lyric in the Jungle song.
Like the Lion Sleeps Tonight song?
Yeah.
Umbonia, Umbonia, Umbonia. Was that what you were thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking of like Shrek would go to the land of Umbonia to find the king or something like that. Just a made up name. The species is Crassicornis, which is means if you're born between September and December, you're a crassicorn. and you are gregarious and also a thorn bug if you happen to be born there. So yes, the binomial nomenclature is Umbonia crassicornis, which is
Sweet.
That's fun to say.
It is.
A lot more fun to say than Aukenorhyncha. That one doesn't roll off the tongue at all. But since we're in the business of naming things, cue the music. It's time for my favorite part of the show, Critter Groups. A part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question, and that question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal? Or what is the term of venery? Or what is the collective noun? I could not find one for thorn bugs. I cannot find one for the species, genus, family, infraorder, suborder, just bugs, basically. Basically insects. So we're going to go with insects because there's just so many of them.
There's no group of bugs, like true bugs?
There's no collective noun that I could find for just true bugs. There are collective nouns for members of...
No, like cicadas.
True. Yeah, there's like one for cicadas, but we've already done cicadas. So it's like, I don't know. We're going to go with insects because there are collective nouns for just insects in general. And one of them I'm about to read to you, and then three of them are not correct. They're lies. Or words I just made up or pulled from somewhere else. All words are made up according to Thor. If you saw a group of insects, which I'm sure you've seen many times, would you call that A, a rabble of insects, B, a column of insects, C, a beam of insects, or D, a cannonade of insects?
A cannonade. What was the first one?
Rabble.
I'm going to go with a column of insects. Final answer.
That is ostensibly incorrect. The answer was rabble. But
there's a column of something.
I'm sure there are insects that are a column somewhere. But like it's not something that you would use to describe insects in general. Like
gotcha.
if there was just a bunch of different kinds of insects together, you wouldn't call it a column. You call it a rabble. But I'm sure that, like, I don't know, gnats or something are a column. But yes, it's a rabble of insects. So, let's talk about what this guy looks like.
Oh, you know, a term of venery is also called a venereal name.
That is, I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
I don't like it. I wish you hadn't. I wish that wasn't in my mind.
Venereal? Maybe venereal. Maybe that's a better way to pronounce that.
Sure. Yes. Venereal. So real. Nope. I guess it makes sense, a term of venery. And then if you turn that into an adjective, venery. But I don't want to. It's like when you find out that the science word for chewing is to masticate.
Yep.
And you're like, nope, no, it's not. I refuse to have that. To have that. We're gonna say chewing on the highest scientific level there is. But let's talk about what the thorn bug looks like. And it looks like a thorn. They ain't called the thorn bugs for nothing. Although a lot of the animals we do are called things for basically nothing. This thorn bug is a true bug and true to its name. So basically, if you're painting a mental picture, start with the typical oblong cicada shape-ish, with those folded clear wings going along the back. They have green heads, green or maybe a dull yellow, with large bright red eyes and 6 legs coming out from underneath the body. And you guessed it, the defining characteristic is the thorn. It's called the pronotal horn, which the pronotus is kind of like a hard shell just underneath the head of, like, say, a cockroach or something like that. Before the wings, above the wings, but below the head. And for the thorn bug, that extends out from the crown of its head all the way up It curves slightly backward, like a crashing wave or a shark's fin, and has a sharp reddish tip at the end, and then it crests back down to the end of the abdomen, so it spans its entire body and makes it like look really top heavy. And the reason it looks like that, it goes without saying, is that the goal is to look as much like a thorn as possible, which would understandably deter predators. Mostly it deters birds that would prey on it, because not only would they, if they assumed that they were thorns, not bother them at all, but even if they knew that they were tasty morsels, they're still spiny. They still have the prickly personalities.
Hard to eat.
Yeah, their prickly personality would cause them to hurl insults at the birds until they were so discouraged that they left.
And okay, I'll talk about this in a bit.
Okay,
please continue.
But I guess since they're supposed to look like thorns, and everybody knows how big a thorn is, then I'm thinking, just hear me out here, that we're good on the measure up.
It's funny you should say that, because there's a particular thorn-related part of Measure Up, but we can't skip it. We owe it to the people, because it is the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show that's presented when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words Measure Up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. Unfortunately, we do not have a Measure Up intro this week, which means we get to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess what it is.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Lava. So, without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
Oh my.
Is that a guy to a football game? Or is that A, a gibbon, B, a lemur, C, a marmot, or D, a baboon?
Ooh, I thought I knew the answer until you said baboon. I'm going to have to go with gibbon, though. That's about all. It's about as, like, they just make the weirdest sounds. And I don't know what a baboon sounds like outside of saying a sampasana squash banana all the time. So yes, my final answer is A, a gibbon.
That is correct. It's a gibbon. I always throw in, I think I've thrown in a marmot before, because it's like, it's a type of monkey that it's like, who knows what that is? It's a New World monkey though, I think. And then a baboon, yeah. Baboons could make a lot of different sounds, you'd think.
I knew it was an ape.
Let's talk length. They're about 10 millimeters, or 0.39 inches. How many thorn bugs go into the length of the average, or the upper end of average thorn from a honey locust tree?
I'm guessing that's the biggest thorn ever.
I typed in biggest thorn ever. This came up. I did not find definitively that there is no larger thorn. But here's a hint. The tree is a deciduous tree that's native to North America, especially states around the Mississippi River.
5? Yes.
5 thorn bugs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little less than half an inch. No, I'll say 10.
10 thorn bugs?
Yeah, that'd be a big thorn. Yep, 10.
10 thorn bugs, final answer.
Yep.
That is exactly right.
Is it really?
Yes, exactly right. Thorns can be between 3 and 10 centimeters.
No way.
Or 1.2 to 3.9 inches long. What are the odds of that? It's 0.39 inches long for the bugs, and 3.9 inches
the longest
long
thorn.
For the thorn. So lucky. Power of 10.
Wow. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm not lucky. It's just because my brain is just so big. I was able to deduce that with logic and understanding about the world around me.
Well, speaking of the power of 10, let's talk about egg cluster sizes.
Oh,
So
that's egg cluster. That's one of like the worst.
Clutch.
That's one of the worst words in the English language, I think.
See, I think cloister is worse because it's a mix of moist and cluster.
But it doesn't mean that.
No, it doesn't mean
there's a semantic problem with cluster as well because it is nasty. In some cases,
you could have a cluster of
like grapes and stuff. That's not a problem. But like in the most part, it's like just there's like bunches of eggs and stuff. Anyway,
is it setting off your what is that phobia of holes?
Oh, like stratophobia or something like that.
Yeah.
No, because that's I guess if they're clustered together, that's the part that's kind of like it's not a phobia. It's just like ugh, like that's
an
just,
aversion.
It's just like yeah, it's an aversion. It's like I don't like it. I don't know why, but I just don't. It's like anything that looks like a bunch of like bees could fly out of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue with your egg cluster question.
Females lay about 100 eggs at a time. How many thornbug egg clusters go into the largest group of passenger pigeons ever recorded?
Largest group?
Yeah.
Like in flight at the same time or in the same coop? Or
yeah, flocking. The largest flock, I guess.
Attending the same university?
Yeah. Here's a hint. Passenger pigeons are now an extinct species of American pigeons that were once so numerous in the American skies that a flock could take hours to pass overhead. In fact, the name passenger pigeon comes from the French, which means to pass over or to pass by. So in 1866, a gathering was recorded as being a mile wide and 300 miles long.
That helps tremendously.
Hunting, deforestation, and other variables are said to have driven the bird to extinction. Can you imagine that? 1866, there were a 300-mile long flock, and today there are none.
Yeah, you got to hunt them a lot for a long time to get rid of all of them.
I wonder if the silent spring, like that thing that was killing egg, that like pesticide that was thinning eggs and killing off birds by the hundreds was partially responsible. But it's widely attributed to overhunting. But that's a lot. You hunt a bird like of that numerous to extinction. Jeez. But that's also not the largest animal group of any of all. Do you know what animal groups itself in the largest groups is?
Is it like fruit bats?
Good guess. Fruit bats. There are like caves of millions of bats. But no.
Krill?
That's a good guess too. In terms of like unrecorded, I bet there might be really large krill groups. But in terms of recorded, it's locust.
A plague of locusts.
Yep. That's a lot. It's a lot of them
That's
in there.
a lot. I guess the answer is trees, but whatever. Organisms. All right. You helped me out a lot with a 300-mile long, 1 mile wide column of these guys flying overhead. Although it just means I'm in the astronomical numbers. Because I was gonna say, I don't know. My brain automatically put in messenger pigeon. And so I was thinking of like somebody's single coop of messenger pigeons. So I was going to say like 150, but you clearly I was mistaken. So I'm going to go with 1 billion. Nope, that's not enough. No, wait, that's way too much. I'm going to say 30 million. And then let's just knock 2 zeros off of that to get our answer, which would be 300,000. Am I wrong? No, that's correct. 300,000 is my answer. 300,000 egg clusters worth. I mean, yeah. If you know what I mean. I can't do the mental gymnastics required to reconcile these.
You
two
said
things.
how many?
I said 30 million, but 30 million birds in the largest gathering, and that would mean that it's 300,000 egg clutches.
The correct answer is not 300,000. It's 35 million.
Oh my goodness! So it is over a billion.
The flock was estimated to be 3.5 billion members strong.
Oh my goodness!
There are still and they calculated this by like determining the approximate like square footage of how many birds were in a square foot of this column, and then multiplying that by the entire area of the column.
Yeah, you need the height of the column too.
Yeah, I can't. It would take a much smarter person than me to figure out how many birds were in a flock that size. But
Wow.
there are flocks in the millions in Africa of a specific type of bird. I forget what it's called, but like they say that when it's flying overhead, it sounds like a roaring, and it takes hours to pass by. That's crazy. What an event.
That is a lot of poop. To be, if they all just decided to go at the same time, you would die, probably. Die of poop.
That's happened to divers in Wales. Did you know that?
Really? Have whales
pooped
and then
pooped on a diver, and it's just like in a thick cloud. Oh,
they don't die though, right?
No. Oh no, it's just the worst situation possible.
That would be the worst way to die, though.
There are worse things than death that can happen to a man. That might not be one of them, but there are.
Except to have that be the way that you die.
Yeah.
The only thing worse than that is dying because of it.
That's all I got for the measure up. Do you have any fast facts before we get into the major fact?
I do. Just one, because the rest of it is major. They live, just two, because I want to say where they live. They live on trees in the tropical and subtropical zones of southern North America and northern South America. So all around the equator. Because if the temperature ever drops below zero, up to 90% of the population could die off in that area. So they're very sensitive to cold weather.
So you know what that means? That means they live in Florida.
Yep. In Mexico.
And that means that once when I was a child, I stepped on one and it hurt like the dickens.
Really?
Yep. I felt like Marv. That's why it's on this list. Because I remembered that.
It's on this list because you felt like Marv one time.
I felt like Marv. I felt like Emily Blunt in A Quiet Place.
Oh. Both of those are hard to watch, but the Emily Blunt one is obviously not played off for laughs.
I don't think I put I stepped on it, but like the pain made me like not put my full weight down. So but I did lift up my foot and there was a bug stuck in it.
Oof. Nah. Put on shoes.
I was at the pool.
At the pool? Oh.
It was on the side. It was on the side of a pool. Yeah.
I want to say I've seen these, but maybe I'm just. I had to have seen these. I've spent so much time in the outdoors as a Boy Scout in Florida. I had to have seen them.
They're easy to miss if they're like in their little broods.
Yeah.
Because then they're just
look like thorns
on a tree and they look like thorns.
Yeah. But yeah, and they live in Central America and kind of the Colombia, Venezuela, North Brazil area.
Nice.
Because they like the tropics and they don't like it to be cold. And while they're sitting there on those trees and plants, they are exclusively eating the sap. That's what they eat, is the sap inside the plants that they hang out on. So they're kind of parasitic. And when I say kind of, I mean definitely. They're parasitic.
Yeah. But then is an animal like a cow that eats grass a parasite of grass?
No, because the cow destroys the grass that it eats. The the thorn bug has a plant host that it feeds off of.
So it needs the thing to be alive.
Yeah, it needs the plant to continue to be alive in order to continue eating from it. But obviously they can drain a plant dry and then move on to the next one. But like there are plants that are parasitic on other plants.
Right. Very true.
When I was doing the research, they were calling them host plants.
Yeah.
Or trees or whatever.
So that means when you're hosting a party, you're hosting it for parasites. Party parasites.
Yeah.
Unless it's a potluck, in which it's more of a symbiosis.
Ayn Rand would agree with you.
Oh no.
Let's open that can of worms.
Let's get into the major fact.
Okay, yes, let's do that. Instead of Ayn Rand, let's not.
Okay.
Let's just
Good idea.
do the major fact.
The thorn bug is an attentive mom, and unlike some other bugs, watches over her brood in the nymph stage. Mothers will find an ideal host plant to lay her eggs in, and she does this by carving out a groove in the stem of the plant and depositing eggs inside it.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
Moms may even sit on eggs like a chicken in order to protect them from would-be predators.
That's cute.
When eggs hatch, mothers will continue to protect the clutch of nymphs until they're big enough to strike out on their own. Every time a predator approaches, it's a gamble, though. Should the mother maintain the illusion that she's just a thorn, or should she attack and ward off the potential danger and risk, not coming back? The gamble is fairly high. If the mother breaks the illusion and fails to fight off the predator, the clutch survival rate drops from 53% to 27%. So in order to maximize the intel about the potential threat, the nymphs will help by scanning the area. When they perceive a threat, they send out a chemical signal to the mother. But the mom won't attack unless all the nymphs send out a chemical report at the same time, or as close to unison as possible. When one sends out a signal, the next either immediately responds by listening or by lighting the beacons of Gondor, or ignoring it. So the brood essentially decides whether or not the mother should be deployed. It's like a republic. It's like a pirate ship. Everyone decides. It's a group vote.
Yeah,
a congregational vote.
It's a pirate ship with an oddly democratic system of doing things.
It's a pirate ship with a appropriately democratic system of doing things. Pirates historically, at least in the the days of the East India Trading Company, or no, is that right?
That's a company that was dealing with pirates.
The Pirates of the Caribbean days, pirate ships were democratic.
The captain didn't have ultimate say?
The captain only had ultimate say during battles.
Huh.
During ship battles. And the quartermaster allocated all
rations.
It was like a socialist democracy.
Interesting. I always thought that the captain, whatever the captain said, goes, and then they
kind of
divide up the booty.
Anyone who went on a raid got an equal amount of cash, and I think the quartermaster and the captain got a little higher pay, but based on their position.
It's very organized.
Well, the reason
career criminals.
This is the biggest tangent in the world.
Because it is organized crime.
The reason was because piracy was kind of a countercultural to the militaristic ships that were in these trading companies that were the captain was very powerful, and he would work you like a dog. So then they're you know what, I'm going to start my own ship with democracy and loot,
Instead of Bender reference.
Yeah. but absolutely.
In fact, forget the democracy. But yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's a. But I did learn something new about pirates, which is good. It's always good when you learn something new about pirates.
It is.
What were we talking about?
Clutches.
Oh, yeah.
So the brood essentially decides whether or not the mother should be deployed based on the potential danger of the threat.
The mother should be deployed.
Once the mother is dispatched and returns without being dispatched from this mortal coil, she decides when the threat is over and calms the brood. If she goes by the way of Bambi's mother, the brood may be adopted by a nearby thornbug mom.
How nice. That is unusually nice for an insect.
It is. Except for the fact that through combining clutches, it lowers the survival rate for everyone. So, I mean, it's higher risk, higher reward, I guess. It's like the bigger the group, the more likely that some will survive.
It's what Captain America would do. We don't trade lives.
That's right. So large clusters can drain resources quickly. So much so that it could stunt the growth of an entire tree or even kill it outright. For that reason, very successful moms may produce many small thorn bugs because resources are stretched thin. The bugs don't grow up to be as big and strong as they could have been if there were only a few of them. So small females may still have the chops to reproduce successfully, like their mother before them. They don't need to be big to have a successful brood because the smaller bugs consume smaller resources. But small males struggle to compete for mates and food. So this has led to a disparity in the ratio between the sexes, with more females than male thorn bugs.
But
because it's an advantage for females to be small, and it's a disadvantage for males to be small.
And don't females only mate once?
I read something that they usually die after their brood is reared, but some survive, like a 20% survive.
So it makes.
I don't know if they mate again. I don't know.
It makes things like really competitive among the males because they can mate multiple times, but each female can only mate once.
Exactly. So it's.
And so if you're always fighting and you're the smaller one, you're never going to get to mate. Basically.
So it's tough being a male.
And if you're a thorn bug or a hyena, specifically difficult being a male.
For humans, I think there are more men than women.
I thought it was the other way.
No.
Really?
I think there are more. No, there's more women than men. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Well, I was saying, but for humans, and then I said the exact same thing as the case for the thorn bugs. No, you're right. More women than men. And that's all I got.
All right. Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy that like they all need there needs to be like this unanimous decision on all of the nymphs' part in order to activate the mothership.
I think it has to do with like, I don't know. This is me conjecting, but if like say a bird flies by in the distance and one of the nymphs notices it and the others don't, and it lights the fires of Gondor, and the others are like, I don't see anything. But if it's like right up on the branch, then all of them will be like, there's a threat. So the severity of the threat or the likelihood that it will be a threat determines how many nymphs notice it or, respond to one of the nymphs taking the initiative.
It's like when a bunch of the 5-star generals all have keys to the nuke and you got to get them all. You have to go back to the pirate analogy. You have to have all the pieces of 8 from all the pirate lords in order to activate Calypso.
This isn't even a nautical animal. No. Why is this such a pirate-themed episode?
Because pirates are the coolest organized criminals in history.
Are they? They might be.
Sure, that and the mafia. But my question is, okay, so like, I mean, there are other predators like wasps and things like that. So it doesn't really work against birds because there really isn't that much that a thorn bug could do to a bird. But like to a wasp, a couple thorn bugs could probably chase it off.
Yeah.
But then I also read something about the false alarms where like sometimes one would get all jazzed about something that wasn't really like a leaf that had fallen, and get everybody excited. And then the mother would fly off and then come back and be like, that was just a leaf, you morons. And then they'd be like, oh, okay. And then she'd teach them to better distinguish between leaves and actual threats.
How does she teach them?
Using the chemicals.
Oh, wow.
She'd be like that. Well, it's not as complicated as regular teaching. She would come back and be like that, like give the chemical signal for like that. I guess that wasn't an issue. Or not
False alarm.
The not wrong. A threat. So there must be like a threat detected chemical. There must be a threat eliminated chemical, or the all clear, and then there must be a not a threat chemical.
Chemical communication is confounding.
Yeah, it's chemically confounding.
And that's your alliteration for the day.
All right, so that was the thorn bug. So for you out there in Podcastia, stick to your branch, keep an eye out for danger, and honor the chemically induced vibration signals from your brood mother like the thorn bug here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey LDT listeners, thanks for listening to the end of the episode. For your loyalty, you get a shameless self-promotion from us. If you haven't already, leaving a review on your favorite podcast app can really help us grow. But telling your podcast-loving friends about us is even better. Also, don't forget to send in your Measure Up intros and animal suggestions to ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. As always, thanks, most of all, for listening.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
That was good. Good.